Reba McEntire is one of America's most recognizable country music singers. But there's one aspect of Reba's life that isn't so glamorous, and that's the absolutely insane circumstances surrounding her divorce. Reba's split with her ex-husband, Narvel Blackstock, was pretty messy, and it definitely didn't help that this was something she had to struggle through while being in the public eye. But to really understand how she got there, you need to go all the way back to the beginning of her story. Weirdly enough, that story doesn't start with Narvel, because Reba was actually married once before him. Reba first got married at a very young age to a man named Charlie Battles. The year was 1976, and Reba was just 21 years old. But just because she was pretty young doesn't mean that this marriage was a mistake, or that they split up right away. This actually wasn't the case at all, because Reba and Charlie's marriage lasted for 11 long years. They eventually divorced in 1987, but this actually wasn't Reba's decision. Apparently, Charlie didn't like that Reba was prioritizing her singing over their marriage. Reba was devastated and shocked by the news, which I completely understand, but her career really was taking off at that time, so I guess it wasn't that hard of a decision for her to make. I mean, Charlie was supposed to be her husband, and I feel like if he really loved her, he would have supported her amazing career. But it seems like he didn't really do that, so I get why they ended up getting a divorce. Still, they'd been together for 11 years, which isn't exactly a short time. Not too long after Reba's divorce from Charlie, Narvel came into her life. Narvel and Reba actually started dating pretty much immediately after her divorce, and a lot of Reba's fans were apparently upset about this because it went against her image. Reba had a sweet girl-next-door persona, which some people thought didn't exactly fit in with her getting a divorce and then dating someone new right away. But it seemed like Reba didn't care about this reputation she had all that much, because she was in love. On June 3rd, 1989, Reba and Narvel got married in Lake Tahoe. Reba was actually on a break from filming the movie Tremors at the time. Narvel also had 3 kids from a previous marriage, and Reba had 2 stepchildren from her first marriage, so they already had a pretty big family. But Reba and Narvel wanted a child of their own, and in 1990, they had their only kid, a boy named Shelby Blackstock. What I think is really interesting and amazing is that to this day, Reba tells people that she has 6 children when asked. Even after her split from Narvel, it's clear that she cares about all the kids a lot, even though most of them are her stepkids. She must have a really big heart. After they got married, Reba and Narvel's life changed in a big way. Or really, Narvel's life changed. Reba was already super successful in country music, but suddenly Narvel was managing her, and this was a huge change for him. Narvel basically married one of country music's biggest stars and was now famous for being her manager, in addition to being her husband. Narvel even helped produce some of Reba's biggest hits and award-winning songs, and he also managed some other talent. Reba and Narvel seemed to have a great working relationship. They even started their own company, Starstruck Entertainment, which is kind of a funny name for a company, considering how Narvel probably felt marrying Reba. Narvel and Reba were together for over 25 years, but I guess sometimes things weren't as good at home as they'd appeared on the surface, because much to everyone's surprise, and especially Reba's, Narvel filed for divorce after 26 years of marriage. Once again, the divorce was not Reba's idea. Reportedly, Reba actually opposed the divorce and didn't want it to happen. I suppose she didn't want to adjust to living without her husband, which was gonna be an even bigger change than usual, because she was also losing her manager at the same time, as well as her business partner in Starstruck Entertainment. I can't even imagine how shocking that must have been for her. But eventually, Reba was able to understand why they needed to get a divorce. She said life was too short to go through any part of it unhappy. And even though she was happy in their marriage, Narvel clearly wasn't. So even though it was hard, Reba ultimately just wanted everyone to be happy. She took some advice that her dad gave her as a kid, which was that sometimes you need to take your marbles and go play somewhere else. Weirdly enough, there was actually one other person besides Reba who really wanted Reba and Narvel to stay together, and that was 2002 American Idol winner Kelly Clarkson. Kelly's connection to Reba is pretty strange. That's because Narvel was actually a father-in-law to Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly apparently grew close enough to Reba that she tried to step in and convince the two not to separate. But that clearly wasn't enough, because Narvel supposedly just wasn't getting what he needed out of the relationship. And so, after their divorce, Reba was suddenly single and had to navigate some really confusing things. For so many years, Narvel had handled all their finances. Now, Reba was on her own, and she had to figure out how to do simple things like signing checks and paying the bills. This is probably a thing that might seem easy and obvious to most people, but Reba had never had to do any of this before. She said that adjusting to life after her split from Narvel was one of the hardest things she's ever had to do, but she got through it, and according to her, this was thanks to her faith and spirituality. Reba says that her relationship with God is what's helped her get through these massive hurdles, and she also says that she has no idea where her life or career would be without her faith. Fortunately, this second divorce wasn't the end of Reba's love life. In October of 2020, Reba announced that she was in a relationship with a new man. This man was actor Rex Lynn, who recently had a recurring role on the Breaking Bad spinoff, Better Call Saul. But that's not where Reba knew Rex from. Apparently, Reba and Rex first met in 1991 when they both were in the Kenny Rogers movie, The Luck of the Draw. They've stayed in touch even after all those years. Reba said that they both knew a lot of the same people, so it really just felt like two old friends having dinner when they finally reconnected. The two were then apparently texting and talking on the phone a lot, getting to know one another while quarantining during lockdown. It's really sweet they were able to keep each other company and help pass that lonely time. Reba and Rex seem to be really happy together, and they're supposedly even talking about getting married. I honestly think it's great that Reba seems to always be able to bounce back, even when life gets tough. Meanwhile, Narvel is now dating Reba's old close friend, a Nashville real estate agent named Laura Putty Stroud, which is kinda weird, but apparently Reba doesn't really mind. That's pretty big of Reba, because I feel like a lot of people would definitely be bothered by that. But Reba says she's still on good terms with Narvel and that they're friends, which is important since they obviously still have a child together. And at the end of the day, Reba says that she's always wanted everyone to be happy, and it looks like that's what's happened. But what do you guys think? Did you know about Reba's two divorces? And do you think she and Rex are the real deal?